Hello and welcome to Blog of the Net's football podcast, the World Cup edition. Today we are focusing on England against DR Congo in the last 32. We're going to have a look at England's performances until now. We're going to have a look at DR Congo, how they set up, what we might expect tactically, and we're going to look at what we think could be the England starting lineup to hopefully get the job done. Alright, so what has happened until now? Well, Harry Kane became England's World Cup top goal scorer of all time. Jude Bellingham and Bukayo Saka earned their 50th England caps for England, with Bellingham becoming the youngest ever to do so. And Jordan Henderson is the first England player to play at 4 World Cups. England are unbeaten. They've won twice, they've kept 2 clean sheets, and put in a second half performance against Croatia that many are saying it's the best they've seen for years. So what's the problem here? What's the issue? Why is there this panic? Well, I think expectations more than anything. I think England are now seen as an elite team that should do well and should dominate, but it isn't always as easy as that. And tournament football just isn't like that. There are very few teams who go from start to finish, putting in perfect performances, impressing everyone in every single game, and going on to win the tournament. Argentina at the last World Cup, they were efficient. They got things done against teams that they were expected to, and in difficult games. But a lot of the time it was just sort of a doggedness and good team play. England still have a way to go to be as good as that and to match that, of course. But in a tournament where there's 48 teams and there are going to be minnows and there are going to be teams sitting off and making it really difficult, you've got to expect this. You can't be blowing teams away in every single game. It just doesn't really happen. Look at Germany. 7-1 they won their first game. Where's it got them? And when we break down each game, look, England have dominated every game. The focus has very much been those bad moments, those moments where we're concerned about how England look either in possession or even just in the transition when teams are coming against us. But we've got a +4 goal difference from those opening games. Our XG goal difference is 4.6, so about the right level. We've created 13 big chances, which is the second most at the tournament, just behind Norway. And we've conceded just 3 big chances. Only Spain, Argentina and DR Congo have conceded fewer, with 2. Interesting that DR Congo are in there with 2 of those elite sides. We've had 66% possession, and only Spain have had more in this tournament. Now, possession can be fruitless. There's times when you don't always do anything with possession. Just look at Turkey. They were 3rd on this list. But England have to build up better. They have to build up quicker. Firstly, I want to focus on the defensive issues, and that is that we keep changing the back 4. Some are enforced. Reece James looks like he's going to be out for another game, so we're going to have to keep with the changes there. Fine. But we changed 2 of our defenders unforced in the second game. Jed Spence came in and Mark Gahey came in for John Stones. I don't think shuffling around helps too much. Konsa and Gahey played most of the qualifying campaign together, but they didn't start the first game against Croatia. We then reverted back. Nico O'Reilly came in the 3rd game, and Jarell Quansah came in at right back for that 3rd game as well. Again, more changes. And as I said, Reece James was definitely not going to be able to play in that 3rd game. But why Spence didn't go to right back, I'm not sure. Why we didn't bring in a fullback when Tino Livramento got injured, I'm not sure again. I think that our fullbacks are a bit unorthodox. I think that we are looking to use Nico O'Reilly in those more advanced positions, and we can come on to that. But I think really where it concerns me is that defensive line, and we saw this against Ghana. In the opening stages, we can see here that our back line is too deep. We're not in line, and Ghana get in for the chance. This is actually the where Pickford clashes in the final third, and we get a free kick, which I think was the correct decision, by the way, because I think neither go for the ball. But the real issue here is the defensive line that I want to focus on. And this then again happened later on, where Ghana should have had a penalty. It starts from England having an attack. Eza loses the ball. We have a turnover. And we see here there's no cover in behind. There is just big gaps where we've committed so many bodies forward. And then Ghana break, they play in behind us, and we're very, very lucky. It's that challenge Konsa makes on Adu. And we should have given away a penalty, no questions asked. And I think the other thing is that we are slowing the build-up to invite this. We might not have cover behind us, but we go sideways far too often. This is the Panama game. In this situation, we have a 6v5. We're in the ascendancy. It's a really, really good break. But what happens is we go sideways once, we go sideways again, and then Rashford tries to come backwards with the ball, and we lose it. Panama actually give us the ball back, and we then try to play quickly, and Bellingham makes one of these brilliant runs that he does from midfield. We don't score from this one, but we do score from one really shortly after in a similar way. And these runs are what are going to be so important against DR Congo. We see it here go out to the left, and then we slip one over. Bellingham makes the run in behind. He does well to hold it up, and then we score from that. That's the Kane header that makes it 2-0. But again, Panama were catching us on the break. And of course, that's what they wanted to do, and that's what Ghana wanted to do. DR Congo will be slightly different. We'll come on to that. But again, Jed Spencer's gone up to help with this attack, and we try and play a ball in behind here that Madueke runs into the box for. So we've got nothing going down the right as we lose the ball. There's no cover, and it is marginally offside, this one in the end. And it's just such a simple break from Panama, where we don't have our lines, our vertical lines up the pitch to stop the opposition when we lose the ball. And there are going to be times where we take chances and we lose the ball, and we can't allow teams to be at us and on us in two passes, such as they do here. We did change the shape a little bit against Panama. It ended up being more of a 4-3-3, where we knew we were going to have lots of the ball, as we did against Ghana, but we didn't really take advantage of it. Rice wasn't in for this game. It was Elliot Anderson holding, and then we had Rodgers playing slightly as a 10, and then Bellingham more of an 8, and we may see that again here. But we can also see that the back line adjusted. They very much went into a 3 when we had the ball. Nico O'Reilly joining in midfield like he does for Manchester City, and that's going to be really, really important too. Because what he did really well was it allowed Konsa, and Guéhi to form a back 3. And then by moving further up the pitch, it allowed Rashford out on the wide left to receive the ball in lots of space. I don't think we always exploited that particularly well, but there were lots of chances and opportunities to do so. So we may see that again, and I would like to see us try that if possible, particularly against DR Congo's shape. The other thing is there was one little chance against Panama where we got Kane in on goal. We slipped him in, and it wasn't quite a one-on-one, but it was a really good opportunity behind their defence. You don't see it very often with England and with Kane. Those are not the sort of chances Kane gets in tournament football for England, where teams sit off. Can we do it again? I really want to see us breaking and moving off and making runs in behind much more often. So what can we expect from DR Congo? Well, they've only let in 3 goals, and as mentioned, they've only given up 2 big chances. In terms of their formation and shape, they've completely changed it from what they did against Portugal and Colombia in the group stage to what they did in the third group game against Uzbekistan. They played a 5-3-2 in those first 2 games, which sometimes moves into a 5-3-1-1, and then moved into a 4-4-2 against Uzbekistan because they knew they were going to have more of the ball and they wanted to dominate. And dominate they did, and it shows that they can play in very different ways. They really haven't played with a back 5 before this tournament, not in the last couple of years at least. They experimented in friendlies with different things. They played Chile in a friendly. They went for a 4-5-1 to box off the midfield there. They lost that. Maybe they feel that didn't work quite as expected. And in this tournament, they've gone with a back 5. And I do expect Kabuadi to come back into that back 5. And Mbuku and maybe Siddiqui missing out. Maybe the pair of them could be either or. But they've been really good with that back five. They've played with a low block. They have played on the transition, but not quite in the same way that Ghana and Panama have. They have still built up where possible. We can see how much more possession they had against Uzbekistan, 58%, compared to well below 50% in the Colombia and Portugal games. Passes into the final third, nearly identical for those first two games, and nearly double against Uzbekistan with 159. Treble the amount of touches in the opposition box. Far more shots inside the opposition box. 3 big chances in the game, and the expected goals is much, much higher as well. So as I said, we know that DR Congo, if invited and if they want to play on the front foot like that they can. And their front players will cause a big threat. So looking at their shape and what they actually did in the specific games against Portugal, Portugal got an early goal from a well-timed run and an early ball into the box. João Neves scored after just 6 minutes, and at 5'9", it's not all going to be about height, getting into the box and winning that header. All he does is time it well. It's a good cross in. And they get in front, and it looks like Portugal are going to be in the ascendancy for the rest of the game. Of course, we know that Congo made it really difficult. Nuno Mendes making those forward runs, really, really important. We see here that DR Congo have got their back five. They're in a nice shape. Portugal receive the ball in midfield, and then it's a good run. They clip it over, and Mendes is onto it. And that's what we want to see from Bellingham, from Nico O'Reilly, and from our wingers as well. This comes to nothing, but it's a good example of what Portugal did do well and where Congo can be exploited. Portugal did have a disallowed goal in the second half. Bruno Fernandes receives the ball. He plays it into the box. It's João Neves again getting on the end of it. He chests it down, and Cancelo hits an overhead kick. He is offside. But it's a good example of breaking the back line with a ball over the top, getting numbers in, and playing for that second ball to try and create a chance. Here's a good example of Portugal stretching DR Congo in the second half, and it's all about breaking the link between the fullback and the centre-back in that five. So this ends up being the Ronaldo chance, where he kind of moves into that space that Bruno Fernandes likes to take up. It's a cutback by Cancelo. But as we can see here, Cancelo exploits the space really, really well. The same thing happens in the Colombia game, and it's actually where Colombia score and where Munoz gets his goal. As we can see here, there's 4 of them in place, but D2, who came on as a sub, has lost his concentration, and there's a gap. And Colombia exploit that gap. Munoz runs in and gets a bit of luck with the deflection, but that is where they score. And that is going to be really, really important, that England stay patient, try and stretch, particularly in the second half, and get behind into those spaces. But again, like the Panama game for England, it's not all going to come in the first half, I don't expect. I think we're going to have to be patient. I think we're going to have to build up slowly, or not slowly and not sideways, but build up and be patient. Play quick, but don't rush things. Wait for things to happen, and know that they will come when players get tired. I mentioned DR Congo breaking quickly. Not something that they rely on, but here is a good example of them breaking against Portugal and getting up the pitch in 5 seconds. This has come from a Portugal corner. The goalkeeper catches, he throws out, and this is the position that Congo find themselves in 5 seconds following that. They don't take advantage of it, but it's a really, really good opportunity, and it's something that England have found themselves in far too many times, but Portugal do get numbers back. Here's another example of Colombia stretching DR Congo. They push up Congo. They're pushing for that goal. It's 1-0 to Colombia at this point, and they have numbers. You can see that the back three is in place, or the 3 centre-backs are in place, but now the full-backs have gone forward. There's spaces in these side positions, and Colombia just don't execute. Diaz is way offside by the time he receives this ball. He does well to cut inside and finish, but he is offside in the initial instance. Uzbekistan in that third game, they show also why runners are important. And before scoring, they had a disallowed goal as well. It's runners. It's a flick. It's a finish. And it's a really good finish as well. But yeah, it is offside off the flick. But there's two players making the run in behind. And they do really well. And it's really, really similar for how Uzbekistan actually score the goal. Shomadurov scores the goal. Again, it's a lovely finish, and it's running in behind, and that is what we need to see from England. DR Congo, of course, fighting back really, really well to get their result against Uzbekistan, and as I said, playing in a very different way than they played in those first two games. So for England, it is going to be about stretching that back five, stretching that middle three that they play with, getting the ball into wide areas in the middle areas of the pitch so that DR Congo are pulled apart in midfield, because as I said, they will play with a 5-3-1-1 on occasion. They will look to congest those middle areas. So it's about building up in the wide areas early and then looking to exploit the spaces in behind them in the final third early and where we can. So what lineup am I expecting from England? Well, we've had injury problems. We know that Reece James probably isn't going to play. Jarell Quansah came off in that second game, having started at right back against Panama. I don't expect him to start. I do expect Jed Spence to start, and I do expect Nico O'Reilly to start. Where does that leave our centre-backs? I think we'll stay with Quansah and Gahey. So that gives us Pickford, Spence, Quansah, Gahey and O'Reilly across the back line. Hopefully, Rice is good to come back into the team. He was rested. We know he's been nursing a back problem. That was causing him a few issues for Arsenal towards the back end of the season. Hopefully he's good to come back in with Rice alongside him, and I would expect them to start with Bellingham in the middle of the pitch. I don't think Morgan Rogers had too much good fortune in that third game. Don't think he quite did enough to start again here. And then those wide positions, I think Rashford had some good moments but wasted them, but he did get into good positions and it did seem to work at times with Nico O'Reilly. So I think Rashford will start on the left again. And then the question is Saka fit enough to start? This reminds me a little bit of the Luke Shaw situation at the last Euros. You know, if you can't get him fit for, the fourth game to start that, we're really questioning whether this was a good decision to have included him. Now, with 26 players, I think Bukayo Saka deserves a spot in that squad. I'm not suggesting he shouldn't be here, but we really want him starting this fourth game now, and hopefully he can. The only thing I would worry about with Rashford and Saka is, are we going to stretch them enough? Both like to come in on their favoured foot. That might work nicely with how DR Congo set up in midfield if we are looking to congest those areas, but it has to be quick. And I don't think Saka, for me, runs in behind enough the way that Madueke does. So maybe that's something that we look at to introduce with Noddy Madueke later in the game. But we've got to make sure that from the off that we are stretching if we do start like that. Clearly, Harry Kane starts as centre forward, and I think that is going to be my 11 to start the game. It may end up in a bit of a 4-3-3 again with Anderson sitting. We know Rice likes to come off towards that left-hand side for England and for Arsenal, so he may be looking to link in there. But with Nico O'Reilly also liking to take up those positions, it might be that Rice just sits in alongside Anderson. We'll have to wait and see. But that's the 11 I expect. I called my predictions for all the knockout ties. And yeah, I think England will go through. I think this will be difficult. I think there will be a lot of huff and puff again. Don't expect this to be a game that England just dominate and have everything their own way. Because tournament football, as I said, it just isn't like that. Hopefully there will be a game where we really show what we're capable of. But this game is all about getting through, making sure that we're in the last 16. And I am going to predict a 2-0 England win. But I think it'll be difficult. And I think maybe we don't get the job done until the second half. But fingers crossed. Let me know your predictions and enjoy the game.